What's up, friends? How you doing? I hope you all had a good lunch. I'm Georgia. I'm on the product team here at Figma.
And I'm Angel, and I'm on the research team here at Figma. Next up, we're going to do a deep dive on Figma Agent.
A lot of the conversation around AI is all about the underlying technology, but this session is going to focus on the people who are building with it and how they're bringing it into their creative process.
Please help us in welcoming two people who were critical to the launch of Figma Agent, Tammy and Rodrigo.
Hello, what's up, Config? My name is Tammy. I am a product designer.
Hey, and I'm Rodrigo, product manager. And as you just heard, we're here to do a deep dive on designing with the Figma agent. So you may have heard we recently launched an agent in design about a month ago, an agent that knows your canvas, knows your context, knows Figma, and works right alongside you. But now, right now, we're here to tell you about some new things that we just launched that extend what the agent can do a lot, and how you can shape it to the way that you and your team work. So let's take a bit of a dive into all of that, and along the way, we'll share a little bit about how we work with agents in our work. So first up, web search. Don't sleep on this one. Connecting the agent to the web opens up a lot of possibilities. You can do things like product and design research right from the canvas. So think about all those times you were designing, you thought, oh, hold on, I'm just going to open the browser, figure out this question. You don't need to do that anymore. The agent can do it for you. You can also do things like pull real-world examples and content right into your designs. Second, with attachments, you can drop in files from your local machine for the agent to work with. So build designs from spreadsheets or documentation. Easy, works just as you'd expect. With MCP connectors, you can pull in content from all those tools that you work with the most, whether that's documents, data, code, and of course, you can write back to them as well. So you can take that brief, generate designs in Figma, and then write back your changes to the PRD with a bunch of references to all the designs that you just made. And you might have noticed that we recently expanded our connector set a bunch, so it now includes some really awesome tools like Hex and Slack and Granola and so on. And if you've already been using and publishing connectors in Make, those are all here, ready to go. Now, one I'm super excited about and that Dylan mentioned this morning, custom skills. With custom skills, you can steer the agent's behavior with your conventions and preferences, and you can share those skills with your team to really kind of scale that expertise across your whole org. If you've been doing agentic work up to now, you're probably really familiar with skills and how powerful of a primitive it is. And the great news is, those skills you've built for other agents, you can port those into Figma directly in seconds. And of course, as you also might know, it's a composable system. So skills can call other skills, and they can also leverage connectors. More on that in a second. With shareable chats, it's now also easy to see how your teammates are working. So you can learn their best practices, share yours too, and really make AI-guided creation collaborative. And of course, if you want to keep a chat private, because sometimes you need to ask that question, it's just one click away. And then finally, we've also made it a lot easier for you to do the most common actions right from the canvas, like creating multiple variations so you can quickly explore ideas. Very excited to show that in action.
But before we get into that, we want to touch a little bit on the philosophies that went into building the agent. So there was so much that we thought about when exploring this idea, but there's two things that I kind of want to focus on. The first one, the use cases that the AI should support, and two, how the AI adapts to your workflows. Now, when we think about the use cases the AI should support, no one said it better than Joanna herself. We want the AI to do laundry and dishes so that we can do art and writing. Obviously, let's get the AI to do all the boring stuff so that we can do all the cool, fun stuff. But this is where it got kind of tricky, because designing is a very personal experience. And we all got into design for lots of different reasons, and we have things that we both love and hate about it. Some of us love the tiny little details, getting into the weeds, tweaking and fiddling things, getting things pixel perfect, the exact right color, motion spec. Some of us love the systems and the flows, understanding how everything fits together, what the end-to-end experience looks like. And so the most helpful and supportive AI collaborator is one that can actually do the stuff that maybe you don't like. And so you can focus on the things you care about the most. And that's a different thing for basically everybody. And we all have a unique relationship with that work. And so this becomes especially hard when you are designing an open prompt box, which kind of implies that AI can do anything. And with everyone having different things that they love and they hate, there's different expectations of what the AI should be able to do, which means if there's one particular use case that isn't supported, it may ruin your experience or just not feel like a useful tool. And so essentially, we had to figure out how do we add as many use cases as humanly possible. Now, onto the second part about what matters is how should the AI adapt to your workflows? Some of our favorite tools are the ones where the interface can kind of just melt away and you can focus on doing the actual work. They are embedded in your workflows in seamless ways, but appear when you need it the most. And so we know that our design process is not linear, it's messy. You start with an idea, build some prototype, you could hate it, throw it out, try it again. The design process is rooted in exploration, in feedback, in refinement. And we've built this beautiful multiplayer canvas that supports the messy middle of a very messy process. But many of our AI tools today have started shifting that experience. Where we used to get to have an open canvas with lots of exploration, getting divergent ideas very quickly, AI tools today focus on helping you get the highest fidelity, functionality, and really helping you zero in on one idea. In the same breath, we also have shifted how we work. We're used to collaborating and riffing out in the open together. But our AI tools have created silos where the work is stuck in maybe one person's computer, and it's hard to share ideas really quickly and riff and be inspired by one another. And so we don't think it should be one way or another. There is room for all of it at different times. Sometimes you want to be heads down and do some solo work. Other times you want to come up and share the work that you've been working on. Sometimes you want to go deep, and sometimes you want to go wide. And there isn't one best way to work because all of it's important at different times, and that is what we wanted to build. An AI collaborator on a multiplayer canvas that can help you when you need it, and it's embedded into your workflows. All right, let's see some demos, shall we?
Let's do it.
Okay, cool. So starting off, this is my Figma canvas. Before we get into a bunch of these demos, I want to kind of give you a bit of a tour around. When you open up your canvas for the first time, you will be able to see a left rail on the side here, and one of these tabs is the agent. When I click on the agent, I'll be able to see a new conversation, and if I were to go back, I can see all of my different chats from all my different conversations. At the same time, we have something that is more on canvas for you as well. If I select a design on canvas, there is an entry point on the right side of the selection. When I click on it, it gives you the same prompt box that you can now tweak and type in. In addition, there is a plus button for you to add all the context that you could want, including images, files, enable web search, libraries, connectors, and skills. And we're going to show you all of that today. So to kind of kick it off, we have Off Trails here. It's a product for nature enthusiasts that want to create meetups and hiking events for others.
And what we wanted to do, we wanted to introduce a search results page. So I wrote a quick spec for that in Notion, which Tammy is showing here.
Yeah, and so what I kind of want to do to get started is take a couple of these designs and maybe create a first version of it so that like I can continue riffing on it. So I really want to spare you guys watching me type because I cannot spell. And so I've written out the prompt here for you. And so I'll make sure it's copied. I really like these two particular designs because I kind of want it to look like this. And so what I'll do is select both of these. I'll use the on-canvas entry point and then put in the prompt. I also would love to be able to like make sure that I can make sure it knows it's using Notion, sorry. So I can do @mention and type in Notion. You will also see that Notion pops up as a connector, but we also have @mentions for things like design systems. So I'm letting it add Notion. To give you a little bit more depth there as well, we have tons of other connectors. We have Asana, GitHub, Notion, and if I click Manage, we have tons of other cool ones that you can connect and then add to your design workflows. I would also really like that the design that I'm generating actually uses my design system, so I'm going to make sure that in my libraries, my off-trail library is connected. And I'm going to let that go, and as you can see, it's off, and it's doing its work. But I think there's so much more that the AI can do than just generate results and generate designs. One of the key things that I love being able to do is what we're calling parallel prompting, being able to stop, go somewhere else, do lots of different things at once. So one of the things I want to be able to do is update content. So the content is all LA right now, and we're obviously not in LA, we're in SF. And so I have a prompt here that I can update the content. I will grab all of these, again, use the on-canvas entry point, and what I wanted to do is update it to be about SF and make sure that it's using the weather from today. And now off it goes, it's doing its own work. And while it's doing that, I can make tweaks live. I can see down here that a bunch of the images have the same profile picture, so maybe I will update that, make these profile pics different. And maybe even while that's going, I want to duplicate something else and do more riffing over here and say, what does this look like in dark mode or light mode? Make this light mode. Now, there's a lot of creative stuff you can do, but there's a lot of really annoying things that we end up working on that, the tedious stuff. And one of those things are ways to connect things back to your design system. So I have a design here, and while I've been working on it, some of the typography and color fills were actually removed, and so I would really love to connect them back in. So I have a prompt here that I have copied that I will share. Again, select the object, prompt it, and so basically I'm asking for all the colors and text, attach the closest matching color, and then put it from my design system. And off it goes. And so while that's working, I'm going to hand it over to Rodrigo to show you some more cool stuff.
Sure, and so, thank you, it's very kind. Yeah, so while it's running, in the interest of time, I've grabbed a search results page that the agent just made earlier, so I can show you some other cool stuff. So here, let's say, okay, we've got this design. It looks pretty good, but I'm a PM, I kind of want to try some other things, but also I want to do so in a way that's not going to totally mess up everything. So I can click Create Variations over here, and I can actually constrain what the agent can do quite a bit. So I don't want to mess with style or fonts. I just want to try some layout changes. And also, given that a lot of our customers are in Europe, I want to add some European examples. So I'll add that here. European examples. There we go. And now that'll just take off generating a bunch of variations. While that's going, I just want to show you attachments real quick. So let's say we're working on our Off-Trails app, and I decided, hey, what if we could create a tracking page? So for all my hikes, lots of our users are uploading their activities to their watch, to Strava, etc. Why don't we just use that? Maybe we could use that data. Maybe that'd be a really cool feature. So I as a PM, working within our design system, I can just quickly take that idea and run with it with some real data. So what I'm going to do here, I'll just open myself a new chat for a second. And I've pre-written the prompt for myself to say myself typing just right at this moment. What I want to do is use this design as a reference. So I'm going to click this one, use this design as a reference, and make a tracking page for my previous hikes based on this data. And over here, I've just got CSV with a bunch of hike data. Pretty simple. It's got locations, heart rates, time, distance, elevation, that kind of stuff. And then, whoops. Oh, there we go. There's a preview. I can then just go drop this into the agent, simple as you like, hit go, and it will go make that page for me. So while I'm working on that, Tammy, how's it going with you?
All right, so if you take a look at my screen, the agent has finished a bunch of stuff. If you remember me asking for the search results, this was what it ended up creating. I can click the on-canvas entry point done button, and you can see the full chat here. It went through, fetched stuff from Notion, and used a bunch of the design system components. This doesn't look amazing, so what I can do actually is directly go in and change this to be whatever I want to because it's all design layers all the way down. In fact, it's also connected to your design system. So as you can see here, it's actually pulled in components from my design system directly. And as you can see from all the stuff that we're working on from parallel prompting, the copy has also now updated and everything is now about San Francisco. If I click the on-canvas entry point here and see the output, you can see it also did a web search to actually go and find what the temperature was in SF. And then as you go more of the stuff that we explored before together, the images are now updated as well. And this guy over here is still working, but you can see it is now swapped to light mode. I'm gonna let it keep going. Now, there was a bunch of other and the variables is also working here, but I do wanna show you that it's cool. So I actually do have an example where it worked really well. So I can go into my agents, find the thread where this actually did happen, and you can see here that the text layers, the dark backgrounds, the white primary text, everything was back and connected. And so you can see the typography, fill colors, everything is back together here. Now, we released a bunch of really, really cool stuff this morning, and I wanted to be able to show you all how all that stuff kind of connects together with motion and code layers. So to give you a little bit of intro of how that connects with our agent, we have an example here for like the compass. And I would love to be able to tweak it a little bit to make it maybe swing or rotate and do a little bit of those fine grain animations. And so what I'll do here is, again, copy the prompt because I don't think you guys want to watch me type. Use the on-canvas entry point, put that in, and let it go. Now, while that's running, I also wanted to share a little bit more about the code layer stuff that Nico showed. So now that we have these very vibrant and animated objects on Canvas that are backed by code that are interactive, these are also interactive with the agent. So I can select the object, and maybe I wanted to say, make this vertical. And maybe for this one, I kind of want to make sure that make this a grid. And this one, maybe you want to get a little bit more refined and focus on something specific. I can say, make the title bigger. Okay, so now while that is going, I kind of want to take a look at some of the stuff that Rodrigo was working on. So I'm going to just go back up to our example and see.
Have something. I feel like it's like not bad, right? Kind of.
I don't know. What do you all think? I don't love it, but so I'm going to just leave a little bit of feedback here. Maybe I want to make the pills at the top bigger, maybe. And I don't know how I feel about all this color on the side. Remove the colored borders on the cards, please. All right, anyway, Rodrigo, I don't know about that. I'm gonna pass it over to Rodrigo to show you more.
Yeah, I mean, I appreciate the feedback, Tammy. Look, this is a first pass, didn't expect it to be perfect. But you know, also what I can do here, because this feedback was pretty clear from Tammy, I could just have the agent address those comments itself. So I'm just gonna hit that. Great, so it'll get to work doing that. Whilst that is happening though, I wanna show you something else. So now, again, I'm kind of just trying to speed up time a little bit for us here. Let's imagine I made the fixes that Tammy asked me for, which I have over here. That's what this frame is. And I'm feeling pretty proud of myself. Hey, I did what Tammy asked me to. I maybe took some more artistic license as well, innovated a little bit. Now, should I go back and bug Tammy right away? Well, I could, or I could use a skill that Tammy helpfully created for me, which will actually review my designs and give me some of the greatest hits of Tammy feedback based on what I've done. Before I run that, actually, let me just show you real quick, like under the hood. So you've seen us mention skills a bunch of times. So this one, you can just hop in here, manage skills. Super easy to add a skill. As you may know, skills are just markdown files. You can copy, paste them in. But over here, if we go into Tammy feedback, I can read this skill. It has a bunch of like designer lens kind of interpretation, Tammy's version of course. It also tells the agent to annotate the design, which is super helpful if you've ever worked with annotations. So that's how it works, but just want to give you a sense of like, skills can be super powerful, but also just so simple. You do not need to think of yourself as an AI expert in any way to write one. It's just taking your best practices from your head and giving those as instructions. Okay, so let's see how we did. I'll run Tammy feedback. And also, while that one was going, oh yeah, there is another skill that I want to show you, just give you a sense of the power of skills, which is called spec up. So once we've created designs and we're working with engineering to like implement some of the more complex pieces of them, often it's really helpful to write up a spec of just like really explaining what some of those interactions are and maybe some of the why behind them. And so we actually have a skill for that as well called spec up, which I can run here. And the reason I want to show you spec up for a second was because this is an example of where a skill can call another skill. Why does that matter? Well, spec up itself is like relatively simple. Here's how to write an eng spec on a design. However, it is built on this like actually pretty complicated skill called create documentation, which has nothing to do with specs at all. This is just all of our best practices for like, what is great documentation? And okay, maybe a little overwhelming seeing how much of it there is now. This was something that we built up iteratively over time. But what's cool is that this create documentation skill is like a foundational skill. You're probably not going to change it very often, but folks can just build on top of it without you having to repeat all of that. And that's really helpful if you're in like a larger org and you're trying to scale your expertise through skills. Okay, so let's just do spec up real quick. Great. And whilst we're here, actually, let's check on those variations that I created earlier. And just to give you a sense, like here's a quick way for me to find that. So here we go, create variations. And then it's taken me to the spot actually, but I could also just click on these deep links. It would take me to the exact frames. It's made a couple of mistakes actually, which I'm just gonna have it fix now in a second. But yeah, while I'm working on that, Tammy, how are things going with you?
So if you take a look at my screen, unfortunately, the motion one is still going, but luckily, I have another example of this where it worked really well. And so this is the same prompt that you have here, and that I can, again, click on the node within the chat where it worked very successfully. I can click on the entry point for motion, and then you can see that the AI was able to rotate the compass and update the copy and the text to go with it. Now, I also want to now show you some of the stuff from the code layers. So if you remember, we showed you making this thing vertical. And so I make sure this is playable. I make these playable. This is now vertical. This one is now grids. And this one has a slightly bigger text file. And so I kind of want to take a moment here and like zoom out a little bit to chat a little bit about like what we're showing you here. You have now watched us start from nothing and start with connectors, but also start from little designs and go riffing. You watched us refine little things. You watched us do code and motion, animation. You watched us do alone stuff together, stuff with feedback, and just kind of like every version of how it feels like to work together. To give you more of the actual outputs, here is Rodrigo's attempt at fixing my comments. You can see here, like, it was able to remove all of the left things. And I don't know if it was able to address the chips. Actually, no, it made the text bigger. So it was able to do the address comments.
Do I get a pass yet?
No. And so these are, and then it looks like some of this other stuff was able to complete as well. So when Rodrigo asked for feedback, it was able to annotate the object itself with typography, hierarchy, accessibility things based on my feedback. And here's the annotations actually added live. It seems like the specs is still working, but again, we still have a version of that I can share with you. And all of that I can actually see in my left panel. You can see that Rodrigo's work is still actively running, and I know that he's working on it. But there's a version of this that we've already completed that I can share with you here, which is this set of designs. And here what it's done is take a design, again, add the appropriate annotations, and it used that skill to create the documentation, but then also update the individual sections with pieces of the UI. And so this is a great example of you creating something a little bit generic and then coming and using it for lots of different purposes. And so these are the kind of workflows that we're really excited to enable for you to be able to dive deeply, but go wide and just kind of do all the things that you want to do on Canvas. Now, back to Rodrigo.
Yeah, so I mean, as you can see, this is just a really fun way to collaborate. It's just cheaper and easier than ever before to explore the AI. I can go back to any of Tammy's ideas here and riff on them. So like, oh, cool, this motion's great. Let me go riff on it.
Don't touch my motion.
Fine, it's fine. I'm going to duplicate it. I
saw what you did with the hikes, so.
But I can just make as many riffs here as I want. And oh, let's try. What can I do with this one? What we got here? Oh, add bounce. That sounds pretty fun. Okay, I don't really know what it does yet. Let's see what happens. Okay, seriously, let's go back to my slides. We could spend all day playing around with this. So this is really just a taste of what you can do with the agent. Please try it out and share your thoughts. Really can't wait to hear what you do with connectors, and especially to see the skills that you create and share. As you may have heard this morning, Design Agent is now available in beta or beta for my British friends in all Pro, Org, and Ent plans. And it's coming to FigJam and Slides very, very soon. If you have any thoughts or questions, you want to talk about agents, please come find either of us at the product studio afterwards. Thanks again for hanging out with us, and enjoy the rest of your config.
Thank you, Tammy and Rodrigo. Something that I love about Figma Agent is that it was purpose-built to ensure that designers and product builders are always in the driver's seat.
It's a good reminder that the goal isn't just generating a bunch of options, it's getting to that outcome that you're looking for.
Speaking of better outcomes, let's give everyone's brain a few minutes to catch up to everything that you've seen and heard so far. Enjoy this break, talk to someone you haven't met yet, and we'll see you back here at 2 p.m. for the next deep dive.
See y'all.